What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 167. And we start today's episode off with some player training. As you can see, Schwartzy Boy is now 70 overall already, so he's already grown 2 ratings since we signed him at the start of the transfer window. And also we see here 2 more transfer talks have broken down for our young new gen / regen players we're trying to sell. Break Carews and Caixero Rebello, who is a 5'9", I believe, Brazilian centre-half. And we accepted a loan deal here for Sebastian Yunus from FC20 as he's on his way to the Netherlands. And also, we did see here in my inbox that there was some interest for a striker that I had on my shortlist from Lille, who wanted to take this man, who is Steve Subala, who plays from Bayern Munich, to France. And I've been scouting this guy since the beginning of last season with Atletico. And he looks absolutely amazing. Now, he's got 4-star skill moves and a 3-star weak foot. Medium-low work rates, 99 acceleration, 99 sprint speed. Some fantastic technical stats. And like I've discussed so many times throughout the course of this series, he's got a worse stat or a poor stat in what is his most important, and that's what prevents his overall from being much higher. He's 77 rated, 20 years old, and Bayern Munich accepts a less than valuation bid for him of just £15 million. And as you'll see here, we agree a deal with the Uruguayan striker on, I think it's 50 grand a week, which is an 8 grand a week pay cut, or is it 40? Okay, it's 45 grand a week, so it's a 13 grand a week pay cut. I don't do that many pay cuts throughout the series, but I thought for this one it is a little bit more realistic, as he's going to a place where he'll more likely get more first team football, as opposed to getting at the Allianz Arena when he's behind 3 or 4 strikers. And Steve Subala signs for £15 million. And I'll tell you this right now, this guy is exciting. He's got the exciting prospect tag, so he's got some serious potential. The Uruguayan with that blonde afro. And his stats, again, fantastic. 99 acceleration, 99 sprint speed, 95 agility, 94 dribbling. I think his ball control is really high as well. He's only 5'6", so don't expect him to win that many balls in the air. But I must say, his finishing stat being so poor at 67, all we've got to do is train that up, and we've got one heck of a young, talented striker on our hands. With Ivan Toney still recovering from the broken toe he suffered during the World Cup, Federico Chiesa did, of course, score on the Super Cup against Inter Milan, but no goals in our first 2 in the Bundesliga. I must say, we needed a new backup striker here for Ivan Toney, because Chiesa is not a striker by trade, but Subala is in, and all I'll say is this: watch this space. I think Steve could be a real character in this series, and certainly one to watch for the future as well as the present in this Bayer Leverkusen side. Still, as you can hear the music in the background, the Champions League theme song is playing. The draw for the Champions League group stage has now been made, and we can find out our opponents for the group stage in our first year with Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League. Last year they were knocked out in 3rd place in the group, a poor Champions League campaign on their way to winning the Europa League. And this year we've got Monaco, Anderlecht and Dynamo Kiev. And I must say, when you look at these groups as well, Lady Luck was certainly shining on Bayer Leverkusen for this Champions League group draw, no doubt about it. We've had some really unlucky draws in the knockout stages over the past 3 years with Atletico and Roma. But I think this has been one of the most generous groups I've ever got. You can see in Group A, Atletico, our former team, have got Bayern in that group. Group B has Inter, Athletic Bilbao, Spartak Moscow as well. Group C, Roma, PSG, Arsenal and Dynamo Zagreb. What a group that is for my former career mode side. We're in Group D, there were Monaco, Anderlecht and Dynamo Kiev. Group E, Man City, RB Leipzig, Club Brugge and Trabzonspor. Group F, Barcelona, Dortmund, Milan and CSKA Moscow. Unbelievable group. Group G, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Ajax and Lokomotiv Moscow. And Group H, Chelsea, Juve, Lyon and RB Salzburg. The groups that were drawn there were unbelievable. Some fantastic group of deaths in this year's Champions League. But yeah, in our group, I have to say, with all due respect to the sides we've been drawn against them, Monaco, Anderlecht and Dynamo Kiev, I think we faced Dynamo Kiev like 2 of the past 3 seasons. And Monaco, of course, we faced with Roma back in seasons. It's season 1 or season 2 in the group stage, and we faced them during our debut with Sheffield United in the Europa League. We knocked them out in the semi-finals to reach the final. I have to say, I think we're definitely favourites to top that group, and if not top it, then certainly finish runners-up. Going out of that group, there will be a catastrophe. I can't see it happening. I think we've got the team strong enough to get through the group. and make it into the knockout stages, unlike Leverkusen could do last season. Still, for the first and only game of today's episode here, we would welcome Hoffenheim to the Bayer Arena on the back of our defeat away against Borussia Dortmund on match day 2. So, starting the season off already with a defeat to our names. We know this season we're not asked to win the title, so I'm not too concerned about losing that game. However, these are the games we must win if we are to finish in the top 4 like the board have asked. And Steve Subala would make his debut, and oh man, oh man, oh man, did you see that? Well, if not, you'll see it on the replay. The Uruguayan kid puts the defender on the floor and then rolls it to Barry Walsh for his 3rd goal in the Bundesliga already. Oh, Subala! Don't do it to him like that, mate. That's just naughty. Puts his man on the floor with his skill and then selflessly rolls it across to Walshy boy. His 3rd goal already? Man's on fire. Unbelievable start for Mr. Barry Walsh. He's already got more goals this season than he did in the entire of the year with Atletico. Barry is thriving in the cam role and he gives us the lead. And in the 34th minute, Hoffenheim would find their leveller, and it was completely my error as well. Trying to pass out from the back with Emmanuel Aya, and you can't surrender your possession close to your own penalty area against the AI on ultimate difficulty. Hoffenheim win it back. It was my poor mistake with Aya, and they punished me for it as well. So Hoffenheim back on their returns there. It's 1-1. But 4 minutes after the restart, we'd win ourselves a penalty, and poor old Mancini, our former player with Roma, he was having an absolute shocker as we cut inside from the left with Ollie and Barry. Barry goes to shoot and Mancini takes him down. It's definite penalty, no doubt about it, as our former Roma defender there was having a shocker, was put on the floor by Subala in the first half, now concedes a penalty so early on in the second. Kai Havertz, our captain here at Leverkusen, would stand up and take it against Diogo Costa. But, well, I mean, all I'll say is this. I thought I was getting better at penalties as the series went on. No, probably not. That was an awful, awful penalty. Comfortable height for the goalkeeper to save it, and he saves it with his trailing right arm. So turns behind for a corner, penalty missed, and unfortunately, that was how the game would finish as well. Really struggled to create chances in this game. The only 2 we had, we took 1, and I missed a penalty for the other. Really frustrating game. Walsh man of the match. He is absolutely on fire to start the campaign off. 3 goals in 3 Bundesliga games. He's our bloody top scorer at the moment, but I was relieved to see this after the game. An email here from my senior physiotherapist. Ivan Toney is returning to first team training after that broken toe, and thank goodness for that, because don't get me wrong, Chiesa 87 rated is a very good player to have in his place. Obviously Steve Subala has shown signs of quality in his first game there against Hoffenheim, but let's be honest here, Ivan Toney, 5-time Golden Boot winner, he's the shocker, babe. We need this guy back in, well actually so back in our first 11, we need this guy starting in our first 11 for the first time since joining Leverkusen in the summer, so hopefully he'll be back after the international break, which comes directly after transfer deadline day, which you'll see right now as we end today's episode off with deadline day. You saw a bid there coming for Leon Bailey, which of course we rejected, and then Ismail Benacer was approached by Paris Saint-Germain. The French side wanted to take our Algerian central midfielder to the Parc des Princes. Now he's 28 years old, so not going to get any better in the game, but 84 rated and some really great stats technically all across the board. There's no weak spot to Benacer's game, and of course in the summer we agreed a contract extension with him due to the fact that Bayern Munich were going to pay his release clause, which was stupidly low at 23.1 mil, so we got rid of that and decided to keep him here. However, I thought we could get a lot of money for Benacer, and if we do get a lot of money, then I'm okay letting him go, because I do have a replacement for him in my shortlist right now. However, I asked PSG for 57.5 mil, and they just walked straight out of negotiations. This is the guy I would replace Benacer with, Eric Alves de Araujo. He is a 23-year-old Brazilian holding midfielder that's 85 rated playing for Chelsea. Look at this guy's stats. Physically, he's a bloody animal, and technically as well, great passing stats and defensive stats as well. Unfortunately though, we'd only be able to sign him if we sold Benacer for a lot of money, and probably sold 1 or 2 other players as well. So yeah, because PSG wouldn't give us over 50 million for Benacer, I said, you know what, forget it. That won't give us enough money to sign Alves, so forget it, I'm not going to sell him. knowing we wouldn't be able to get his replacement on the same transfer deadline day. So yeah, PSG walk out negotiations, and that Eric character there, he's probably one to sign for next season. I doubt we'll ever be able to get the cash to sign him this season, certainly not on transfer deadline day, but yeah, that's the replacement for Benica when we get the chance to do so, and I must say he looks absolutely superb. But we just had a couple of players here. Kaishora Rebello did finally go to Granada for £2 million at the 71st time of asking, and also we had a bid here for Mochawari, which we accepted as well, and one for Ribeiro Souza, who is a Portuguese right back. And you'll see here I was doing everything I could just to sell these fringe players who have very little chance of playing in our first season, but unfortunately this is a continued trend of the transfer window. So many of the bids we accepted, but so many transfer talks broke down, and as I mentioned before, I think the main reason why that's the case is because those players are on wages which don't represent their true value. They're on too high contracts, and this is a key problem for EA in career mode because players never get released. They always get offered contract extensions come the end of their final year if they haven't been poached away on a free transfer to another club, and their wages always continuously go up and up and up, and that makes it hard to sell those players as the years go by. But regardless, there was another bid for Benica, but there wasn't enough time on the clock to negotiate with Valencia. It was £37 million, and again we possibly could have got around 50 to 55 million, which I would have sold him for. I'm not sure if that would have given me enough money to go after Eric and get him as a replacement. With only 1 hour on the clock, there wouldn't have been enough time to negotiate the sale of Benica, so there was no point in doing that. With around £4 million in our budget, I did decide to go after one new player with our Bayer Leverkusen side, and I decided to go after a new centre-half. There were two on my shortlist that I really wanted. This was the guy I wanted more than the other one. That's Alexander Talaq. He looks absolutely amazing right now, playing for Werder Bremen. Unfortunately, couldn't negotiate a deal for him, but Maximilian Temp didn't look like a bad plan B, and we managed to get him on a valuation deal with no sell-on clause as well from Schalke. He's only 19 years old, 70 rated, and it cost just £3.2 million to poach him away from the Veltins arena and take him here to Leverkusen. We agree a 5-year deal, £8,000 a week contract, and again, like Sebastian Schwartz, this is one for the future that could also play a role in the first team in the first season. He's got the exciting prospect tag. This guy is a giant as well. He's 6'5". When you think about our centre-backs here, Emmanuel Ayer's 6'5", Leandro 6'6", Temp 6'5". We're building a bloody forest in our back line right now, but he's got the exciting prospect tag with a 5-star weak foot as well. I'd say he's not quite as good as Talaq, the lad playing for Werder Bremen, but with 87 jumping as well, this guy shouldn't lose any aerial duels whatsoever, and already some decent base defensive stats as well. Temp is in, and he and Schwartz look like really good players for the future who again could play a big role in the first season as well. So that will do it for transfer deadline day. Temp signs, and that was our final piece of business in what was a very big transfer window for Bayer Leverkusen. We spent £283 million on assembling this new look squad, and also raised £251 million for selling so many Deadwood players as well. So that's actually not that bad of a net loss, really, is it? In the end, that's about 32 million, which really is nothing in today's footballing world. So in total, I don't think we did that badly in the transfer window in terms of a massive loss in our bank balance. But we did indeed spend a lot of money to assemble this new team. You see the top deals there, two of which involving us, and Clement Lenglet was the other major deal in this transfer window. And that would do it for the summer window, and our squad will stay like this between now and the start of January. And I must say, I'm quite happy with what we did. I think we could have possibly played it a little bit better, don't get me wrong, but I didn't want to go as quickly as we did with Atletico and Roma. Yes, we spent a lot of money. Yes, we had a lot of new signings, but with Roma, we basically built a whole new squad in the first transfer window. With this Leverkusen side, you can see some of the players we bought here. Raum, Adrian, Fortai, Subala as well. You know, these are the sort of players, Temp too. These are the sort of players that aren't going to go right in the first 11. They're players for the future, primarily. Whereas with Roma, if you remember in the first season, basically every player we bought was for the first 11, and I'd say 7 or 8 of our starting first 11 were new signings for the first season. With Leverkusen, yes, we got Walsh, yes, we got Tony when he comes back from his injury, Aya and Ollie Shaw as well, but for the most part, the players that we bought, I'd say about half of them are for the future, and half of them are for right now as well. So yeah, very, very excited about this team for the future, and again, is it good enough to win the treble in the first season? season. Definitely not, because unlike with Atletico Madrid, that's not our objective in the first season. This is going to be more of a project here with Leverkusen, and we can take things a little bit of a slower pace. I don't think we've got what it takes to dethrone Bayern Munich in the first season either. I think that's more of a season 2 or season 3 job, as Ivan Toney has decreased the rating. Unbelievable. But we have been asked to win the cup. We have been asked to win some silverware. But I think we've got what it takes to win at least one of 3 trophies this season. What it ends up being, I'm not too sure. The cup is probably our best bet. However, again, it's a bit more of a project this season with Leverkusen, and it's a bit more of a long-term thing as opposed to going major quickly and doing everything in the very first season. But that will end today's episode of Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy today's episode, then please do drop a like. Most love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon, featuring our first Champions League game with Bayer Leverkusen very soon.